Welcome to M Squared TechCast.
Well, Mike Brennan, Matt Roush is still out recovering from his knee surgery, but we still have with us, as we had for the past month, Rick Thompson, who is all things cannabis in Michigan, and which is great since the show is also focused on all things cannabis. And so let's start off with Penny Milkey, who's calling in from way up north in Houghton at Northern Specialty Health. How you doing today, Penny?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Can't complain. Now, one of the things we wanted to talk to you about was about a week or so ago when the regulatory agency came out with the ban on vaping, and I actually was talking to you that we were exchanging texts that same day, and you were saying that you had to clear out a whole lot of merchandise real fast, right?
We did. As soon as it came out, it was a Friday. I think it was like 1:30 or something. I read it in the Detroit Free Press first before I even got an email. So we were trying to figure out what was really going on. And by 3 o'clock, all of the vapes were out of the budroom. We just put them out the back. We took them out of view.
Now, Penny, I was at Lapeer Relief Center when that notice came out, and we also found out about it through the Detroit Free Press. Did you feel as a business owner that was the appropriate way for you to find out about this very significant event cast about by the Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or do you have in your mind a better way that they could have gone about that?
I thought we should have been emailed. You know, like we have like a group email. There's like the advisory bulletins. But I mean, I was just on my phone scrolling through Facebook and I saw the article and I was shocked, and I immediately started messaging other owners that I know, asking them if they had known anything before the, advisory came out. So it could have been done better for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that you were mentioning, that was like what, 30 or so % of your revenue, something in that ballpark?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. We sell a lot of vape cartridges. Yeah, it's not as high as flower, but it's higher than edibles.
And vape cartridges have been one of those products that have been very available in the MMFLA's supply chain. Flower, not necessarily so much. So
exactly.
That's what you're finding too, that this is one of the most profitable segments of your business. Have you been given any kind of an idea when you might have sales restored? Has MRA communicated at all on that?
No. I have not heard anything from the MRA except from the advisory bulletins that everybody gets if you're subscribed to their newsletter or whatever it is. I was contacted by Exclusive and also by Mary's Medicinals. Exclusive is, I think they're trying to, from what I understood, it seems like they're trying to work with all the PCs to figure out where all these batches are. Because, like, we're pretty small and we have over 40 batches, like source batches, that need to be retested in order to be relabeled and repackaged or whatever. Some of those source batches that we have, we may only have like 1 or 2 cartridges left. So like if Exclusives or like if Mary's Medicinals, like for example, Mary said, we know that you made a purchase within the last 6 months. We want to know like the source ID, the metric tag ID, and then we're going to hopefully, because we're far too, like I can't even wrap my brain around what it would cost for us to have PSI come up and batch sample like the 1 or 2 cart that we have. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that there's other carts from these same tests, from these sources, these batch sources in Lower Michigan, that they can be pulled and that we could somehow just like attach another label or have somebody sign a waiver. That's another thing that's very frustrating for me, is that these were pulled like immediately off the market. And in my opinion, they're the safest carts that are available. And now we're just telling people that you can't have these, but maybe you should. It's awkward.
So what are you focused on selling right now to kind of make up some of that difference from the lost sales? Is there something that you're really pushing that you can do that?
Well, we're pushing concentrates because basically, and like back to the old style, like globes, concentrate vaporizers, the things that we used before cartridges.
So alternative methods to accomplish a similar vaping outcome, right?
Yes, kind of, but backwards, but not backwards, but like the old-fashioned way of doing it.
Right.
Because, like we did use concentrates, right? Well, at first it was flour, then it was blasted flour, BHO concentrates or whatever, and made into edibles. Then it was made into carts. But now it's like, since the carts have been pulled, people are going back to maybe just the concentrate with a rig. But they're not as portable. they're not user-friendly,
Maybe I should explain for some of our listeners who may not be familiar with some of the terms that you and I and Mike are using here. Carts are referring to the cartridges that are put onto a battery, which is considered a cannabis-style vaporizer. The globes you're referring to is an attachment that also goes on a battery, but instead of having a self-contained vial of liquid, it has just an open heating element where you can take concentrate, which has already been tested and purchased through an MMFLA facility, and put that concentrate directly onto the heating element and therefore have vapor inhalation as opposed to having a pre-filled cartridges. It's only the pre-filled cartridges that are under investigation at this time. Penny, is that accurate, what I just said?
Yeah, you explained it very well. Yeah, thank you.
I'm really good, I know.
So wait, I have one more question though. So now, so what is to say that that coil in that globe that they're placing that concentrate on and then vaporizing isn't causing some sort of problem compared to the pre-filled cartridge being vaporized? You know what I mean?
Well, you yourself said that we had those globes were primarily used for the vaping issue. If there was a concern with those globes at that time, it would have manifested while those globes were being used by a lot of people. Now, they may be used by a smaller amount now, but that was a pretty good experiment that was done at that particular time. A ton of those globes were used everywhere. And if there had been a situation like we've seen with this vaping crisis, it would have manifested at that time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing too. I one more thing. I'm sorry. I don't know what time it is. Now I forgot I was going to say. Mike, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll think of it.
all right. Well, anyway, so let's talk a little bit about then. Now, you're the only provisioning center in the UP at this point, and your only medical provisioning center. When are you going to get your recreational license?
Well, we hope to get our rec license in the spring of 2020. There is actually a second medical now. A second medical store opened in about mid-October in Negaunee Township.
Okay.
So it's a little bit closer to Marquette. It's about 100 miles away from us. So there are two of us up here now. There's actually two licensed provisioning centers. But our local ordinance, it's in the Planning Commission right now. So the Planning Commission will meet on the 17th of this month. And hopefully they will approve it, and then they call a 2-week hearing, and then it goes to the City Council, 2-week hearing. So hopefully by the end of January, early February, we'll have local approval. We've already submitted Part 1 for the adult use app for a marijuana retailer, but we will submit Part 2 after we get Houghton opted in.
And the biggest limiting
or not opted out.
Biggest limiting factor in the spread of recreational centers in Michigan right now is local municipal approval, not necessarily a lack of desire from companies to get into the market.
Right. Yeah. Houghton's taking their time, which is fine. I know it'll go through. We just have to be patient. And the hardest thing is just telling everybody that's calling and asking and messaging and emailing that no, we do not have adult use sales yet.
Oh, okay. So basically, you got a shortage of product, but you're sort of filling the gap in some areas. Now, we chatted about this a couple of weeks ago. I think you're moving some merchandise too to kind of, it's not a big profit center for you.
Oh.
Yeah, might as well talk about what you can sell up there, right?
Yeah, we are. We do. We have a good selection of CBD, but we also have a lot of Northern Specialty Health apparel. We have like a Lake and Bake sweatshirts, T-shirts, the Great Bake State. We have hoodies. We have hats. Actually, I believe you two gentlemen both got pieces of our swag when I saw you in Detroit.
That's
but
right.
We're expanding that.
Sure
Orders
did.
can be made online, and it definitely helps.
Okay. So, but this thing right now, though, that people could still get product from you, at least flour and whatnot, is if they get the medical card, then they can still buy up north, right?
Exactly. We're telling everyone still to get the medical card just because there's going to be so many more options. Like, we don't know what's going to be available in the adult use market, but at least in the medical market, we have an idea. And it's just going to cost less. It's just going to be beneficial to people if they have their medical card. So we're strongly suggesting that people still get their medical cards. But for the people that call from, like, Wisconsin and Minnesota, that obviously isn't an option. Well, at least Wisconsin is not.
No, it's a very big concern as far as the number of people that are able to utilize the system. There's an estimated 1.5 million Michiganders that are using cannabis on a regular basis right now, but only 300,000, slightly less than 300,000 registered patients. So there's an awful lot of people out there that are chomping at the bit having an opportunity to get to your center. I congratulate you, Penny, for being one of those groundbreakers out there, bringing medical cannabis to patients in areas where it's desperately needed out in the rural areas.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So what else is going on up there at Northern Specialty Health? What do you said you're still moving a lot of CBD products, things like that, right?
Yeah, we have a good variety of CBD products. We also carry hemp flower now. So just to try to help with the demand of people coming in person asking for adult use sales, at least now we have hemp flower that we can offer them. I mean, obviously it's not the same as what they are coming for, but it's good. We have a lot of artist supplies. We have things like that too. But we're doing all right. We just got another order of medical products in. Now since we know about this 30-day 50% transfer thing, we actually have a little bit of time to plan because we're not going to be licensed tomorrow for adult use. You know what I mean? So because we're not going to be issued a license till maybe March, we are trying to determine what kind of inventory we're going to have and what we're going to be able to transfer.
Okay, why don't you talk a little bit, explain what you just said for those that don't know, right?
Well, there's a rule that says that you can transfer up to 50% of your medical cannabis supply if it's been on the shelf for 30 days or longer and has remained unsold. 50% of that stock could go into the recreational market in order to have something to sell non-medicinal patient or customers.
Yes. So, and it also, we're looking at, like, I'm sure we're not the only people thinking this way, but we're also thinking about edibles and THC limits because the adult use limit is going to be 10 milligrams a serving. So if we're stocking up right now on medical products that fall into that category, those medical products could potentially become adult use products after we do our one-time transfer.
And there is a concern that the dosing, as you mentioned, for a medical cannabis edible product, 200 milligrams is the maximum amount of dosage you can have in a single edible product. For the adult use, only 100 milligrams is available in the maximum use. So not all products that are in the medical program would be eligible to transfer over to the recreational program because they would exceed some of those packaging limits.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're looking at, like, chocolate bars, for instance. They're 180 milligrams. Those cannot be transferred, but we have other gummies that are 10 gummies by 10 milligrams each. Those can be transferred, but the 2 packs of 50 milligram gummies cannot be transferred. So since we have time, we're also looking at what are we going to buy now that we can have, that will not sell in the medical market necessarily, but could be transferred to the adult use market when the time comes.
Yeah, marketing these products is really a science in and of itself. When did you open up there at Northern Specialty Health, Penny?
The original owner opened in 2011, but my husband bought it in 2013, so we're coming up on 6 years at the end of this month.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of those centers that was able to transition out of the gray market and qualify for the very rigorous standards that allow you to participate in the regulated market. It's very difficult to do. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of tears, a lot of stress. It was definitely not easy.
Yeah. So now, with all the new regulations and whatnot, is it costing you a lot more money to operate because of these new regs, or not so much?
It is. I don't even want to think about what this year is going to be compared to last year. Everything's different this year. We've bought in all licensed products. We've had everything transported. Our transport costs were crazy, but they have come down. So hopefully next year we have, significantly less in transport costs, but that added up to the total cost of everything. I'm hoping it comes down, but the price of flour is not coming down. And that's another problem too, because people are now considering this 30-day transfer. The prices are going up. Like, we thought flour was topped out at like 42. I heard of 4,800 a pound.
Yep.
So it's not like topping out, because some of these big places can afford to buy it and then hold it and then just transfer it to the rec. So yeah, prices are not, the prices are high. Everything costs a lot more than it did in the past,
and of course,
before we were licensed.
Most of those people that are the 1.5 million cannabis users that are going to be knocking on your door when you open up to rec market, those are people that already have alternative sources. And if the regulated market doesn't offer them a reasonably priced item at the same quality level they're used to, they will just not use the regulated market.
That other industry's been around a lot longer. So
that's true.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. Right?
Okay, we got about a minute left, so this is where we let you do your shameless plug. So people want to find out more about Northern Specialty Health. How do they do that?
Well, we have a website, northernspecialtyhealth.com. You can also find us on Instagram. It's NSH_provisioning_center. And then we also have an NSH_provisioning center. We are also on Twitter, but we don't use that very often. We're located at 902 Razorback Drive in Houghton. We're open 7 days a week, and our telephone number is 906-523-5122.
Okay.
You do that
Anything else
Facebook
you want
thing.
me to add?
That Facebook thing too, Penny. Talk about that Facebook gig you've been doing.
Oh, yeah, the MCP one?
The cannabis
Michigan
professionals. Cannabis professionals.
So somebody started, his name's Harry, he started a page called Michigan Cannabis Professionals, and I offered to be a moderator a couple months ago, and it's really been beneficial, and I've met a lot of people through it, and it's just another good place for people to communicate. So, yeah, Facebook is wonderful, although they have rules that are hard to abide by sometimes. But
Yeah. Rules. We don't need those stinking rules, right? Okay.
I tell you, there's too many.
Yes. All right. Penny Milkey, co-owner of the Northern Specialty Health in Houghton. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you, you guys. Have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks. You
Traditional
too.
four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.